Hey guys, Jeff and Alyssa here. Now this is a question we get a lot, even though I say that almost every single week, but that is, do you need to be compatible with your partner before you marry them? Now here's what I'll say straight out from the gate. The first thing I will say is I think we completely overemphasize compatibility and underemphasize commitment. And what I mean by that is, I didn't mean for that to be a tweet, but that could be a tweet. What I mean by that is I think we overemphasize and idealize and romanticize saying that, oh, we need to have the personalities that perfectly work with each other, rather than it actually, the power that keeps the relationship together is not your compatibility, but actually your commitment, your covenant, the promise you made before God. Because at the end of the day, and I think we've said this with each other even, at the end of the day, you can make it work with anyone. You can absolutely get married to anyone and make it work with anyone. I know that's not that romantic, but of course there's people that'll make it easier and people that'll make it harder and people that you might work better with and people you might not work better with. But at the end of the day, it's about the covenant and the promise, which doesn't really fully take into account compatibility. Now, of course, we'll have a conversation about that. There is something to be true and something to be said of that, but I want to break down before Alyssa goes the different types of compatibility. Now, I think there's one that's really popular that always gets talked about in culture, and that's kind of like sexual compatibility, meaning like you need to kind of, the dumb analogy.
Are you good in bed? How do you guys work together?
Exactly, and the dumb analogy everyone always uses for that is, oh, you got to test drive the car before you actually buy it. I just think that's ridiculous because we're not cars. So I'll leave that at that. And we're not objects and possessions. And sexuality is much more deeper and beautiful than an engine. Anyways, moving on. But that is something that I just think is, that one's a little, I think that one just speaks for itself. Basically what I'm trying to say is this. I know plenty of marriages, and actually the happiest, most fulfilling and wholesome marriages I know are ones that didn't have sex before marriage. And I don't know any marriage where they waited and they practiced that discipline and that patience and that practice and then get into marriage and say, oh man, we're not sexually compatible, this sucks. I don't know any marriage like that.
That's so true.
Right? So I just think that speaks for itself. But then of course I want to give room for the fact that yes, you do want to be wise still with who you marry. And so you can make it work with multiple people in the sense of maybe, marrying this person and marrying this person, but ask yourself, is this person's personality going to significantly rub against mine in a bad way? Or is this a make or break issue for me? Or is this person's personality going to make us a better team on the mission God has for us? Those are good compatibility questions, but at the end of the day, I think that is secondary to understanding the power of the relationship is not your compatibility, it's your promise and your commitment. But what would you say?
That's so good. Yeah, I think basically what you're saying is, there's personality tests, and it's like I'm an INFP or whatever those are.
Yeah.
And I have to marry a EGTH. Those are totally off, I know.
Yeah.
And all the personality people are like, oh my gosh, she has
Yeah, seriously.
But we're just basically saying that in a relationship and marriage, it's helpful to know the personalities. It's helpful to know what their triggers are, how they operate, but that's not like a defining factor of whether you should get married or not. And I think what you said, the big things are, and you kind of know, if you enjoy hanging out with the person, if it's really hard and you just are like, oh, this is like not fun, then obviously that's not a good person.
Why would you marry that person?
But are they on the mission with, are they a believer? Are you guys going the same direction, have the same vision for your life, the same dreams? So, because you never want to, as a wife, you never want to hold back your husband from what God's calling him to. And as a husband, you never want to, shut down what God is doing in your life. So you want to, be together on the mission and enjoy one another, enjoy doing the same things probably. But there's not, a compatible necessarily.
Yeah, and that reminded me, and we'll close with this. This reminded me of this.
I think but basically what we're saying, is there's so much more freedom.
Yes.
And it's not are they the one? Do they match my personality? But it's understanding each other, and then are we best fit together, and is this God's best for each of us?
Yes. And so we'll end with this. I think you want to find someone you're compatible with, but there's different tiers and ranks of compatibility, and I think we just focus on personality compatibility. Yeah. So what I mean by that is, I think there's things above personality compatibility, and what those are like faith compatibility, belief compatibility, worldview compatibility, what you believe about the home or marriage or family or divorce or hard things or whatever you could possibly go through. What does the person believe about that? That's where you need compatibility. Are you compatible in your beliefs? I think that sometimes is actually a lot more important than Are you compatible in your personalities? Because when the rubber hits the road and hard times come, realistically, the thing that's going to keep you together is the compatibility of the beliefs. What you believe about promise, what you believe about staying together, and all those things. So
and I think within marriage, like different, you are different. You're different people, and part of marriage is to become holy and to become sanctified. So you are going to rub up against each other. Because some things Jeff does bother me, and some things I do bother him.
I never knew that. I never knew that.
But it's good because it's making us more sanctified and holy because we're rubbing up against each other, and which probably isn't the best term.
Oh, when you're married, rubbing up against each other. Ooh, I like that. Sorry, TMI. Anyways.
Our personality is like sandpaper sometimes, but it's making all the smooth, it's making the rough parts smooth and becoming more like Jesus.
Yeah, and so I think what you're saying is actually the personality difference sometimes God uses to make you more like him.
Yeah.
And so sometimes the things we would say, oh, we're not compatible, are actually things God says, I know, and I want to use that for you. So yeah, is that all you got?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, so be encouraged. We love you guys. You guys are awesome. Comment down below what you thought was encouraging or something that stood out, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Now, I want to give a huge shout out to this week's sponsor, and that's the Lou Merritt Scholar Unbound program. If you watch my videos, you know they basically allow you to hack your way to college for a way cheaper price than you would if you did it traditionally. Now, what this means is they hook you up, giving you the ability to get the degree from the college you want, but for thousands of dollars cheaper. So here's how it works. Whether you're in college, going to college, want to take some classes here or there, or you want to travel while you're still getting your degree, you hit them up, you pick the college you want to go to, and then they allow you to do that for around $4,000 a year, which is crazy cheap. I think that's how much my books were 1 year. And my favorite part, as long as you have an internet connection, you can take these classes from anywhere in the world. So go to getunbound.org/Jeff, getunbound.org/Jeff. They will hook you up. You can check out the site. You can hit them up, get a free quote. They are awesome. Link down in the description. Love you guys. Talk to you later.